Okay, it's 8:49 now. Good job for those of us who for the people who went to college and have debt. Right? I've said it before. I'm ex-military. I don't have debt from I didn't go into debt for my degree. All right. So all these folks that got this debt, all these black folks, especially black women that had this debt from going to college, the racial wealth gap will not be closed. Will it be good to get that debt off the books? Of course it will be. But our issues are not on the debt side of the ledger. It's on the asset side of the ledger. All right. That's the problem. That's where our problems are, on the asset side of the ledger, not the debt side of the ledger. And the quicker the left understands that, the better. Well, I'm sure a lot of them understand that. All right, let's go.
Huzzah.
The people who are most interested and most obsessed with that topic, you're more likely to get wins if you frame these things in a class-conscious way first and foremost. In other words, you actively push people away, turn people off, make them dislike you more and dislike your issues more if you frame it in a racialized way. So, listen, again, this is a point I've been attacked for making, but I'll make it again. I'm sorry, it's just factually true that universal solutions actually close the racial wealth gap and close and...
No, they don't.
It's just factually true that universal solutions actually close the racial wealth gap and
no, they don't. Stop lying. No, they
That
don't.
is a lie.
That's a lie.
Show the fucking studies. Show
Oh,
the studies.
that's a fucking
No, they do
lie.
not. Nothing that has been proposed closes the racial wealth gap.
Nothing.
Everybody listening to this call.
Everybody.
Okay. If I give you $5,000 and all of your neighbors $5,000, do you guys now have the same? If y'all bank accounts match exactly, you do. If not, you don't. This don't make no sense. What are you talking about? Like, and the thing about it is we're not even against class policies, but the class policies that they're pushing don't even make a dent for fucking poor white people. Like, poor whites don't even get a leg up with this shit. So it damn sure ain't helping us Negroes. Like, come on. Like, Kyle.
Doubling down on the bullshit.
Doubling down. Like, please, Mud, please. I'm mute myself. I'm frustrated. No, I'm frustrated.
I didn't want to cut you off, but I'm tired of like it being framed as just a poverty thing. Like, we're talking about closing the racial wealth gap because of the actual injury. So even for, people who are like middle class, like black people are middle class, like they deserve to get a leg up because of, or not even a leg up. They deserve to have their debt paid because it's their inheritance. So it's like, it's and the thing is, it's like, what he's telling us is the same thing the conservatives are telling us. Get over it. That's basically it.
This is the white liberal racist version of dog whistling. This is no different. It's all dog whistles. Let's not talk about identity politics anymore. Let's just talk about class.
But again, even if we just talk about class, right? We have to if we're gonna really get to the root causes, we have to describe how people came and became parts of those classes, right? It's not just capitalism bad, class structure is what it is. No, we need to discuss how people got there, because people got there in different ways. Some people came here with nothing. Some people came here with nothing and built something and still didn't get nothing. There's different causes and different effects. And if you don't tackle those, you're not really answering the questions and you're not solving problems. You're just trying to skate by right now. Because like you said, Sam, he's dog whistling. He's talking to the people that listen to him, right? He's talking to his audience, telling them, yeah, you were right all the time not to listen to them niggas, right? That's what he's saying. But again, a handful of undergraduates, 3 undergraduates, they haven't even, they know this isn't somebody's thesis. Nobody's hanging their
scholastic career.
Their scholastic credibility on this bullshit, right? Even in the study, they say that, well, there's some evidence that we may be bullshitting. But then moving right along. You know what I mean? All right, go ahead, John. You got something?
Not really. I'm gonna get his ass later. Not really though. But he know what he doing. He know what he fucking doing, man. You know what? I do got something, FG. I do got something. You know this is my top enemy, man. Y'all know this is my top fucking KKK Zelensky. Been my top enemy. You my top enemy, man. And you really just prove why. Like you just prove why. Because this is the game they play and shit. The game they play is that fucking neo-libs use race to kind of suppress progressive policies. And this is the reason why Bernie Sanders need to stay away from kind of racializing progressive policies and this and that. But first of all, like this tactic already, like we've seen this tactic. This is what lefty. This is why we come after y'all motherfuckers, like because you feel me, like real shit. Like the thing about it is that when Bernie Sanders and them was talking about these progressive policies, they were not targeting black. They were speaking in those ways. Those little blocks. It was like class block. It was like middle class people and poor people and rural people and people that are poor. And they ain't connected to black people. They're saying that motherfucking Democrats racialize this shit to put it down. By the end of the day, if you're really about justice, what you should say to them fucking neo-libs, because neo-libs hate us for being specific racial, like targeted towards the racial politics. They don't like us. Maxine Waters hate us. Like if us four came to Maxine Waters' door, man, somebody like get them niggas out
Release
of here.
the
Like, get them out of
hounds.
here right now. Talking about reparations. Get them away from me. They hate them. They hate us more than they hate y'all. You know what I mean? They hate us more than they hate these fucking progressives. Like, so this is just a game he playing, trying to conflict the neo-lib problem, like neo-libs using our plight the same way that, you feel me, to suppress their progressive policies, the way that they use our fucking plight to kind of push their progressive policies. And he just saying like, don't talk about it, don't bring up Negroes no more, because Negro, you gonna benefit the most. We've been talking about, what the fuck, Cal? This what you got? this what you, all right, never mind.
And stop telling me that I'm gonna get the biggest, stop telling me I'm gonna get the biggest piece of the fucking crumbs. Sorry, I had to get that out because I was getting frustrated. I got the stuttering shit. It's this goddamn coffee. Yeah. Quit telling me I'm gonna get the biggest nugget of the crumbs that falls off the table. Listen, none of these policies move the needle. Listen, it's great if I can have free healthcare so I can prolong my death. But if I'm still fucking poor and starving, okay, like we still need money and resources. None of these things that they're talking about are gonna close, like I said, are gonna close the racial wealth gap, period. None of them. And fuck that racial wealth gap. None of those things are gonna close the lineage wealth gap, which is for descendants of chattel slavery. Fuck the racial wealth gap, because a lot of you guys, this country doesn't owe you anything. You immigrated to a racist country. You were not brought here in chains. You were not forced to come here. You chose to come here. This was your choice. So the country doesn't owe you anything. The only thing the country owes you is a standard of living as an American citizen. So that's why I'm not against class policies. But I agree, let's stop framing them as fucking racial policies, because they're not closing shit. That's why everybody's getting turned off, because it's not closing anything. But most people aren't even smart enough to know that. You're sitting here saying that it does. So the problem is people like you are liars. We get these racist white people. And yes, I'm calling Kyle a racist. He's a white liberal racist, white progressive racist, whatever. He probably has black friends, but he's paternalistic. He's like a Bill Maher. You know, like they all cool with black people. They fuck black chicks. Not saying that Kyle fucks black chicks. But I'm just saying, you know, they all cool with black people and shit. And then, but when it comes down to like, what black people need and how to better our situation, they don't give a fuck. Like, oh, well, just take some fucking healthcare, take some free college and get the fuck on. But it's like, but my free college doesn't help me get a fucking job. Like, if the Democratic Party right now, if the squad is there a federal jobs guarantee bill in fucking Congress right now being pushed that has been signed by anybody, has been actually introduced? Is there one?
I have no idea.
I would have to look it up. But what I'm saying is the federal jobs guarantee, if it was at $25 an hour, that would be something that would be substantial for all Americans. That would actually help black people, because black people who can't get a fucking job right now could go get a fucking job. Not at 15, at 25. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about $15 an hour, which is still fucking poverty wages. And I want people listening to this. really tell me, like, if you live somewhere that's a major market, like if you live in a city, not even a major city, just if you live in a city, that is not enough money. $15 an hour in a city is not enough money. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of people said, just because they rate, just like if it's 15, great. But without a federal jobs guarantee, which 15 still ain't shit, so it needs to be 25. But without a federal jobs guarantee, there's no new jobs coming to those poor Black people and those poor white people in the South who ain't got no jobs. You need the federal jobs guarantee with it being $25 an hour to actually to matter as a class policy. But that's not what you guys are talking about. You're talking about shit that only really helps upper middle class people. The policies that they're proposing, especially college, free college, that's a top 10% problem. That's a top 10% problem. So,
yeah,
like
but even Joe Biden's talking about free community college. You know what I mean?
Community college is fucking free right now.
For a lot of states, yeah, it is.
No, if you make under a certain amount of money, right? So unless your parents make decent money, and then even if your parents make decent money, there's ways to get around the system. Because my mom made too much money for me to get my shit in the beginning, so I had to go through this whole thing and file as like an emancipated adult person to get my shit. So there's always workarounds. But if you make under a certain amount of money, like your classes are free. At junior college, if you're, even with what my mom was making, my classes were still free. I just couldn't get any money. You understand what I'm saying? So no, your classes are free. And then if you make under a certain amount of money after that, so you have your classes are free. Then if you make under a certain amount of money, you can get actual financial aid where they'll actually give you money. And then on top of that, they have EOPS, at least in California, they have EOPS in these schools, which they give you like book vouchers. They'll give you fucking train passes, like all kinds of shit. Like there's so much shit that you get. Like college is free for most poor people right now. If you're a poor person, junior college is free for you up until you run out of your financial aid money in the Pell Grants. Yes. So they're not even talking about making 4-year universities free. If they were talking about 4 years, but again, that doesn't close the racial wealth gap. And all universities should be free anyways, because it's 2021. We have climate change coming. We're already seeing all this shit going on. We need to be training Americans to be the best and the brightest in the world, to be ready to solve the problems that are coming down the line for us. But y'all aren't talking about that.
Nope.
This is weak.
Yeah, even in Tennessee, community college is free in Tennessee. You know, you graduate high school, you walk in the door, you go on to community college. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Right? No paperwork. I mean, no more than usual. Right? No FAFSA documents. Nothing. It's free in Tennessee. You know,
Wow.
You know how wild that is? In Tennessee, community college is free, and even Joe Biden is meeting them halfway on this shit. So how progressive is it really if Joe Biden is halfway there with you? You know what I mean? You know, Mike John, it's not all that fucking progressive.
You know what he's doing.
It's not, I mean, and he doesn't have a leg to stand on, Mr. Justice Democrats. All them Justice Democrats got out there and became regular old Democrats. Fuck justice.
I want to win.
They became just us, like
just us. Yeah, exactly.
And now he's crying about.
They all focused on their brands and shit.
Yeah.
Yo, did anybody notice that Cori Bush looked flyer already? Like when I just saw her, I was like, oh, who's that? And I was like, Cori Bush. And I was like, oh, I see that money already hitting you, boo boo. Your whole appearance been upgraded. Oh, am I the only one?
She got a stylist. She got a stylist. Let her live. Let her live.
I'm not saying that anything's wrong with it, because Cori Bush is at least flapping. Well, no, they're all terrible. I don't.
Well, I mean, it's Cori.
Listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race, you're now tuned in to Reset Race. What? Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. Be focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake. Lineage go back to U.S. Southern plantations. Lineage, Jim Crow and mass incarceration. Redline and lynchings. We are old from this nation. You're not about justice if you ain't for reparations. MG the wise one. Cousin mother intellectual. Samantha bringing fire. Anti-black, we pressing you. No permanent friends and no permanent enemies. The backbone of the country. To win, you need our energy. You gon' see. Listening to Reset Race. You now tuned in to Reset Race. You're listening to Reset Race. You're now tuned in to Reset Race. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Put them back on the grill again. We grilling them. Back on the grill again. We grilling them. You're listening to Reset Race. ADOS need reparations to make America great. You're tuned in to Reset Race. We no longer starving while others eat off our plate. No. You're listening to Reset Race. Be focused on our justice claim. We know what is at stake. You're tuned in to Reset Race. You'll find out who really about justice and really who fake.
Until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble.
I wouldn't suggest that they vote for any party or either party. I would suggest that the so-called Negroes become politically mature, realize the power that they hold in the field of politics, and then once the person who is running is aware that this man is awakened to the power that he holds, then that person who is running will approach that Negro on a more intelligent plane. As it is right now, most of the Negro leaders sell out to the white politicians for a crumb. And an awakening, a political awakening among Negroes will make it impossible for the present Negro leaders to sell our people out as they've been doing in the past.
Today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. This is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.